Happy birthday to Times Square, the iconic city neighborhood celebrating its 120th anniversary this year.
You said it. Doesn't look a day over 119. Yes. It was back on April the 8th, 1904, when then Mayor George McClellan signed a resolution officially renaming the square north of a building that the New York Times built on 42nd Street between 7th and Broadway, Times Square. Times Square is the name of the city's new center, was the headline in the Times the next morning. Of course, Times Square has gone through a lot of changes since then over the years. It is not just the city center, but in many ways the center of the world. Joining us now to talk more about that is Tom Harris, the president of the Times Square Alliance. So good to have you with us. Happy 120th birthday to Times Square.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, Times Square has changed a lot over the years, and so has the New York Times. Look at that old headline from 120 years ago.
Times Square always reinvents itself. From back in 1904. It has been the center of the city, and there's always new and exciting things happening.
Let's take a look at these old photos from the late 1800s, early 1900s, and we'll talk as we just want to show our viewers what it looked like way back when, over 120 years ago. And when you look at these old photos, Tom, for someone who's there every day now and deals with Times Square every day, it's hard to imagine that city planners back then could envision what Times Square would be today.
It's true, and I've been with the Times Square Alliance for 16 years, and almost every block in the center of Times Square has changed in that time. So just imagine the forethought of this plan of something that's going to exist forever.
We also want to talk about, maybe the seediest times. That was from the 60s to the 90s, in the 1990s. Especially due to, it's go-go bars, sex shops, peep shows, and everything like that. So let's talk about that time and why it was associated so heavily with the city's decline then.
So Times Square has always had an edge to it. It was a place for people to come to see and to be seen. There was a deterioration after World War II, and it went to what you saw those images are in the 60s, 70s, and then early 80s. But it really has transformed itself, thanks to Mayor Giuliani, Commissioner Bratton, the NYPD, and really the investment of the city up to this day, when Mayor Adams has committed a lot of city resources to make sure that Times Square is what it is.
Yeah, when you look at those old photos, what Times Square was during those seedy years, what goes to your mind? What do you think about? Do you think about, wow, look what we've accomplished here?
Well, what really goes through my mind is when people today say, oh, we're back in the bad old days.
Yeah.
I think, no, we're not. This place is great. Times Square is safe thanks to the commitment of Mayor Adams and the police department. And the best is yet to come for us.
And part of that transformation came in 2012. That's when we redesigned the plaza. Talk to us about that.
So Times Square was a place without a destination. And then in 2008, 2009, when we opened up the Red Steps, we had that destination. That was the focal point where people could say, hey, meet me at the Red Steps. And then with the closing of the pedestrian plazas, it really took off. We do a lot of public art in those plazas. We have a great new hot dog exhibit that's going to be coming April 30th, a 65-foot long hot dog. We do, yeah, it's going to be great. We have a Midnight Moment, 364 nights a year, over 100 screens in Times Square play a new artist each month.
Yeah.
So it really gave us a lot of opportunities.
And Tom, we have to talk about, you can't talk about Times Square without New Year's Eve. Shannon Ferry there, of course, every year. How does that, what goes to your mind when you know that people from all over the world want to be in Times Square on this such an important night?
We love that. From the entire year, the whole staff and all of our partners work to make New Year's Eve a fantastic experience, and it's an honor for us that 1 million people in the city and 1 billion worldwide tune in for that one moment in time.
Tom, we want to ask you, of course, you hear it all the time. You're not a real New Yorker if you like Times Square.
What do you think of that?
What do you think about that?
Look, people love to hate Times Square, but the reality of it is over 100 million people pass through Times Square each year. And we'd like to think that we give them a great experience. So for those New Yorkers who love to hate Times Square, come back, give us another chance. There's a lot going on in Times Square.
But in all seriousness, in just our final moments, when you look ahead the years down the line for Times Square, is that part of the process too, trying to make it more of a place for New Yorkers, not just for tourists? Or is it more New Yorkers won't admit that they like Times Square?
Well, I think what our goal is to give people a great experience, and then New Yorkers will come.
Yeah.
Tom, good to talk to you.
Good
Thank
to
you
talk
so
to you.
much.
Happy birthday to Times Square.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest news and weather updates every 10 minutes and more. We'll see you then.